the best tank in World of Tanks console? It's a question that most people will ask themselves. What tank do I want to get at tier 10? And of course, today's video showcases quite possibly the best, most overpowered premium tier 10 tank within World of Tanks console, and it is, of course, the WZ-111 Quillin. This is the Chinese tier 10 heavy tank within World of Tanks console, modern armor, and this one basically has everything you could possibly want about a heavy tank. It has the high alpha damage comparatively to a lot of the other heavy tanks of the same tier and the same kind of gun. Now, we talk about having high alpha damage. There are, of course, the E100, plenty of different other tier 10 heavy tanks, and we can look at them within the game, of course. But that is not kind of what this video is about. There are other premium tier 10s as well, things like the Object 279 Early, and this one has, in fact, one of the better tier 10 heavy premium tanks, and then you have things like the T95 FE4201, but the WZ-111 Quillin blows them all out of the water, and we're going to get into some gameplay to showcase just how that is, and also go through the statistics, the loadout, and how you want to maximise this tank and why this tank is so good. So, to begin with, the tank has a superb reload for 560 alpha damage, 10 seconds, going to blow everyone out of the water in terms of the other tanks within the game. I mean, even if we look at the Object 279E over here, we look at the statistics of the vehicle, you can see that for 440 alpha, it has a longer reload than the Quillin. And so, yeah, to be honest with you, which tank are you going to want to pick? The one with 560 alpha or the one with 440 alpha, considering they reload in approximately the same time? Well, no questions there. The WZ-111 Quillin beats it every day of the week. You'll also notice, oh, well, it's a Russian tank, you're going to be able to get penned in the upper plate very, very easily, considering it's a pike nose. Well, you'll be slightly wrong, because the pike nose, although it is prominent on the tank, it definitely does not get featured anywhere near enough as something, say, like the Object 268 version 5, where you've actually got a proper pike nose. This one is a lot flatter, similar to the Chinese style, which means that, yes, you can actually angle the tank a little bit better than any of the Russian ones within the game, and so this Chinese tier 10 heavy tank is really so great within the game. And make sure that what you do is add in all of the equipment as shown here, the advanced load, improved ventilation. It's just going to make this tank astounding. And I guess if you do want to pick up the tank, it is available right now in the premium tech tree. However, it will cost you 450,000 free XP to be able to pick up this tier 10 within the game. Luckily, I managed to get it for off of Wargaming as part of our kind of my community status, so that was always good. But to be honest with you, if you do have the free XP or you're willing to spend a lot of money on the game, then this is the one to go for in terms of the tier 10 premium tanks that you can afford within the game. Of course, the other ones are available for you to pick up as well for 450,000 free XP, so there you go. In terms of some gameplay, let's get into it. Let's showcase exactly what this tank can do, why it is so good, and exactly how the 560 alpha damage really stacks up against your opponents. The first round of gameplay is one that is just utterly bonkers, to be honest with you. The fact that we managed to pull out the damage result that we did in a game that really did feel very, very difficult in terms of being able to really progress the game in terms of our team's performance. And so, yeah, I guess that is an interesting matchup. And certainly during this period of time when I was playing the WZ-111 Quillin, we had some pretty strange going on with regards to team deployment, what the average team was deciding that they're going to do within the game. And yeah, a little bit annoying to say the least. Now, obviously, right there you get the prime time shot on the T95E6 here, which we can get a nice 520 alpha damage at the beginning of the game. This is exactly the way that the Quillin really does work, and even if you do take a hit, you're going to be out trading 90% of the time with that 560 alpha. Obviously you don't want to be poking into things like the FE2152183 or the FE4005, but that's pretty self-explanatory. Anyone with half a brain will be able to realise that. Obviously, 1084 damage at the beginning of the game, very easy, just 2 shots with this tank. 2 shots to be able to do 1,000 damage so quick in the game is just really, really nice. You can see here the 9-second reload, or just under, to be able to deal the damage really, really consistently. You can actually see here it is a 9.4 second reload with all of the boosts to the tank, and this is guaranteed that we aren't using the enhanced combat rations to boost up that reload speed, which you can do with the tank, making it even better within the game. And already 2,138 damage down within this game, and considering it's 2 minutes into the battle where, you know, the first bit is just trying to get into a good position, and yeah, we've picked up so much damage already. Now this is the point of the battle where basically the enemy team just goes full weird mode, and somehow they're all just YOLOing in. As you can see, the M60, the LT over there, just literally just going straight in. No thought really as to whether they're going to take any damage. Don't worry though, because even though they're doing all of this with 3 bat chats sat there, I think it is, with of course having those autoloaders, we still cannot manage to hit that final shot to be able to take at least one of them out of the game. And this is the point at which, yeah, everyone decides, do you know what, I'm coming for you. We hit the back chat there with a nice shot, clean flush, and 3,756 damage within the game is certainly not bad. And this is the point at which we do need to make sure that the game gets the shot of chieftain, where we're going to outtrade him 90% of the time here. And this is where the Queen is just utterly bonkers. We can manage to get into a nice position around A1 there. The tank behind us then gets hopefully taken out, at least that's fingers crossed. But unfortunately for us, yeah, it's not looking like we're going to be able to take out that STF1, as he does manage to deal 1 more shot of damage into us, taking that 140 or so hit points away from us. But considering that was like a 4-minute game, or just under that 3-minute game, we picked up 5.7 thousand damage, making this quite possibly one of the easiest tanks that you can grant yourself loads and loads of damage. And it really does make it super easy. Any player within the game is going to find it very easy to do 2,000 damage, at least with the Quillin. That's 4 shots within the game. Most players will be able to do that, as long as you're not completely, you know, if you don't have hands it might be slightly different, but yeah, with the Quillin it does make it easy for you. So it's definitely going to be a good one for you guys if you want to pick it up. I definitely would recommend it. It's probably the best tier 10 heavy tank within the game. At least, you know, you can make a solid argument towards that because of the DPM of the tank and the ability to be able to get around the battlefield with a solid mobility that the tank gets. And obviously you can see some clips here of just maneuverability of the tank, and also just how it performs in general, and then we'll get into the post-battle result screen of the game in just a second now. So it was a defeat, unfortunately. We did manage to have the most damage within the game, 5,702, as well as picking up absolutely 0 destruction, so yeah, not so good. But we did certainly pick up a lot of damage very quickly within the game, and when the game only lasted 4 minutes and 42 seconds, yeah, it's pretty ridiculous, really. Malinovka is the next map of choice to showcase what the Quillin can do in a more brawling engagement where you're coming up against a lot of other tier 10s within the game. Of course, this is a very, very favourable matchup, and if you come up against tier 8s with this tank, you just blow their socks off. 560 alpha damage just ruins their day. You know, you can pretty much 3-shot any tier 8 tank within the game, and that's including the heavy tank, so yeah, 30 seconds to be able to remove a tier 8 from the game from the beginning, from every single shot hitting, that is. Yeah, very, very easy, and so I'm sure you'll notice that. Now, with this game, we need to make sure that we're getting up to that hill area to be able to have the best game possible, because that is where you typically want to be taking your heavy tank. Of course, you have to be mindful of any artillery that are in the game. Luckily, we don't have the pigs in this one, so it's not such a problem. But definitely, if there are artillery within the game, you do need to really be mindful with the tank, because you see that fat engine deck at the back of the tank. Yeah, that gets penned very, very easily by enemy artillery, as with any of the Russian heavy tanks that have these big engine decks. Obviously, with this game, we need to make sure that we are going to get up the hill, and you can see 18 kilometers an hour, 20 kilometers an hour, you know, these are the speeds that you're going to be seeing when you're coming up slopes. Doesn't have medium tank mobility, but it does have very good mobility on the flat. You're able to get into position pretty quickly. If you compare yourself to something like maybe a Super Conqueror, stuff like that, you definitely are a lot faster. And even if you compare it to something like a E100, that really does blow it out of the water. You're never going to be able to get up to the speeds of the Quilling with something like that. And the armor model is not actually that much different between them both. Obviously, you see here, we did get a little bit late to the party to be able to get the first couple of shots off into the opponents that we're hoping to. Obviously, the Dragon here thinks that he's going to get a nice surprise at the top of the hill, which he does, but probably the wrong ones, and it probably wasn't a nice surprise. Obviously, the WZ here, or the Type 9 even, moving backwards down the hill, but we're going to stop him in place using the tracks of the enemy tank to be able to do that. And this is the situation that you really do want to be in with the Quilling. It's just the ability to just round after round put them straight into opponents that just don't really have any reason or any ability to be able to pen you reliably. Obviously what we do here, go for the lower plate shot on the ISM there, very easy, picking up 1700 damage. It's a game that just seems so easy when you play with a tank like this. It really just becomes the scenario has to be right for you to be able to have a really fantastic game. It's not necessarily that the tank has to be any better. Yeah, it's just really fun to play. It's one of those that you probably want to be picking up if you do want to play any kind of tier 10 game, or if you want to purchase anything within the game. This is the sort of thing that you want to be doing and purchasing. Obviously within this game it's 9 to 10, we've got a lot of enemy tanks moving up from the left hand side of the map, and we picked up 2,400 damage early on within this game, or within the first three and a bit minutes. So yeah, once again it's just a case of just make sure that you get yourself on the front line with the Quilling. Use the DPM of the tank that it does get, use the accuracy as we hit the T100 LT and we move there. Yeah, it's just superb in all regards, and at this point what we're going to do is just try and get a shot on somebody who manages to bounce off of us, showcasing the armour model of the tank, and now we can just side scrape against the concept one, but probably won't bounce the shot because of course we are kind of over-angling, although he does have tracks. We do need to be mindful of the Scorpion G that's sat back there. He's going to have the penetration to go through the Quilling quite easily if he manages to get any of the frontal armour of the tank. At least if it is not angled towards him, so we have to be careful of that. In a game like this, 1,500 damage, 1,400 assistance, because of the view range of the Quilling actually not being awful, which makes it quite fun to play actually, as you have the ability to kind of dish out damage and also get assistance with this tank, which can't be said for a lot of heavy tanks within the game. Maybe something like a Super Conqueror does have a similar sort of capability, but yeah, the Quilling can get up front and up close and personal, whereas the Conqueror just doesn't have the speed to be able to make it effective within the game. Obviously Concept 1B out in the open, no real challenge there. We've got a Carnarvon out in the open as well, which are just easy pickings for the accuracy of this. Maybe if you're in that E100 it might be slightly harder to reliably get your shots in against the opponents that you will be seeing here. 4,000 damage. Easy, and although it is now 1 versus 7 and it's looking like it's going to be an unfavourable victory, unfavourable chance to be able to win within this game, you know, we could still pick up a little bit extra damage, and talking about that, we pick up that final damaging hit on the AMX 5120, making it up to 4,700 damage, and we've not really been engaged in that many different kind of engagement, because yeah, we've basically been kind of dishing out the damage pretty quickly. You can see just here, 3-shot in the Carnarvon there, and that's exactly what you can kind of rely on with this tank. Now with the end of the game kind of looming and 5 tanks against me and Scorpion G somewhere lurking about in the shadows, we've got to make a decision, and unfortunately for us it's the wrong one. Scorpion G comes out of nowhere. We then make an awful decision quite there where I just got lazy and decided I was going to try and auto-aim the Scorpion G, who then puts a shot and decided to turn away. The LT 100 LT with 3 marks comes out and puts the final shot of damage into us, which yeah, I was kind of expecting. But anyway, picking up another 5,600, and if you get what I'm talking about, it's the fact that this tank does perfect even in situations where maybe you didn't have the best team, or maybe you didn't have everything go your way. You can still pick up just large amounts of damage comparatively to other tanks this tank really grows and boosts itself away from a lot of the tanks that you can see within tier 10 within the game, and that's probably why this tank is the best tier 10 within the game, at least in my opinion, in terms of heavy tanks. And to be honest with you, even when you compare it to some of the non-premium or non-heavy tanks, it probably is up there with the best. So yeah, hence the title of this video. Hopefully you did enjoy taking a quick look at the WZ1 Quillen. Of course, let me know what you actually think about this vehicle, whether you think you would change the kind of best tank in the game. What do you actually think is the best tank, and do you agree that this one is a perfect kind of hybrid between having accuracy, mobility, movement, armour, and a perfect gun, or do you just think it's quite terrible and you'd want a different one at tier 10? Other than that, I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day. Of course, if you are watching this on Christmas Day, I hope you have a fantastic Christmas Day, and I hope you'll join me in the new year to be able to watch some more gameplay for World of Tanks console, Modern Armour, and I hope to see you there. Goodbye.